I'm Kristen Oaks-White.
And I'm Avery Davidson. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week.
Well, Avery, as much fun as I had at the Grand Canyon last week, I am certainly glad to be shooting again here in the studio because it's just a little bit warmer here.
Just a little bit. No sleet hitting us in the eyes this time. A number of you commented on the picture we posted on our TWILA social media sites that we looked cold. I can confirm with a numb bottom lip, it was true. It was especially cold on Kerry Martin, our boss, who had to keep his hand free from a glove in order to work the teleprompter. I think he deserves some hazard pay on that one.
He definitely does. Well, another reason I'm glad to be home is it's finally crawfish season, and with all this warm weather, the boilers are running and Louisiana crawfish is now available for sale.
And even better news, the prices are already dropping. As TWILA's Neil Melancon shows us, the amount of crawfish normally available only in March is available right now.
Hot, boiled crawfish. It's hard to think of a more perfect Louisiana food that natives and tourists alike crave. Here at Tony's Seafood in Baton Rouge, they're bringing them in buckets and boiling them to perfection. What makes these crawfish more amazing is that this is January, and they're already at the size you're used to seeing later in the season. Bill Pizzolato is co-owners of Tony's, which is named after his dad who started it, and since that time, crawfish have been a perennial favorite here. This year, they've got them early. After the summer floods across South Louisiana, though, he didn't think it would be a good year at all for crawfish.
But now we look a lot more optimistic, because we're starting to see a lot of crawfish. We're starting to see areas that we thought was not going to come back, but they start with a lot of young crawfish.
One of those areas is here in Acadia Parish, where crawfish and rice farmer Paul Zonbrecker can confirm this season is unusual.
I talked to one of the buyers yesterday, and he said what he bought at his dock, he would normally buy that many crawfish in March.
Zonbrecker says that even though his area saw about 2 feet of rain over the summer, they had a very low mortality rate for crawfish even after the rains dried up.
Had a dry spell around pumping up. Once we pumped up, we've had a fairly mild winter, and of course, whenever you have a mild winter, crawfish are growing.
The good weather and good size of crawfish this time of year actually presents a problem to buyers and farmers alike. People are just not used to buying crawfish in January. As such, many buyers aren't purchasing throughout the week as they normally do during the busy March season, which keeps crawfish boats and their growers high and dry.
They start early, they get a supply. We may have a cold blast of weather come in, and all of a sudden there's no supply. So they would rather be a little conservative, start a little later. And of course this year they could have started right after Christmas.
Back at Tony's, Pizzolato says with the weather good, they're consistently getting a good supply. However, any cold snap could cause a reduction in supply, which keeps prices high.
By the time you send a truck out and you got your buyer and you go out and you're picking up 20 sacks, 15 sacks, or 30 sacks, the cost to bring that crawfish in is so high. But if you can turn around and load that same truck with 150 or 200 sacks or more, that cost is still the same. So that's what brings the price of crawfish down in the retail sector.
Right now, though, they're bringing them in by the sackfuls and being sorted. One of the secrets to Tony's success is their grater, which sorts the crawfish by size and gets rid of the dead crawfish, as well as old bait and anything else that isn't what consumers want. The result is a consistent size, whether you're buying them fresh or boiled. For those who like to boil their own, Pizzolato has this bit of advice.
Just go out to be sure the crawfish is fresh, and that when they get them, that they keep them on ice. And it's really from the market to the house that you don't want to put them in water and let them sit in the water too long because they're going to die on you or drown.
Now, I talked with Bill for that interview a week ago, and as Avery told you, prices have since dropped to $4.49 a pound for boiled crawfish and unboiled $3.29 a pound for that 30 to 35 pound sack. And prices continue to drop right now. If it seems a bit high, though, for crawfish at March levels of abundance, it is. The reason is that word really still hasn't gotten out yet that crawfish are available, so go out and buy some to show a little interest to these places. If people buy more early on, restaurants will buy more, and the cheaper the price will get. Well, if you like crawfish, you have to like rice. Not only do the two go together, like in crawfish etouffee, but they grow well together. We went out to talk with the Zonbreckers and their rice crop this past summer. They had a beautiful looking rice crop that was heading towards a record, and that was before, though, the floods hit South Louisiana. Some parts of Acadia Parish where they are saw more than 2 feet of water during those rains, and it hurt more than just the rice crop. Paul Zonbrecker says while his farm avoided flooding, it did cause some damage to his crops at a time when prices are at their lowest.
South Louisiana, we're fortunate to have the crawfish, and it's helping a few guys make the year, and at the same time it's going to ensure that so many acres of rice do get planted because of the crawfish following the rice. So we don't have a lot of options down here. I think most people are going to try to plant, and we're going to try to be optimistic that some of these markets open up for 2017.
In many areas, the rice crop was heavily damaged, and that impacted the ratoon crop, or second crop of rice, harvested in October. Rice farmers saw lower than expected yields, and many rice farmers depend on that second crop to show any kind of profit for the year. And guys, they aren't kidding. Rice prices are at their lowest levels in almost a decade right now, and that's really not only impacting them there, but it's impacting their ability to get funding from banks. Banks are at some record low levels of lending right now for ag products.
Well, it goes to show the importance of having another crop to go to for these rice farmers. Crawfish, in that case, pretty much makes up the difference whenever they have prices for rice in a market they can't control.
That's right. And Paul Zonbrecker talked about the wild fluctuations in prices. You know, prices are headed down just because of the abundance, but they can fluctuate in there quite a bit. Hopefully, though, you know, they'll get some prices there, because one of the things we saw is that he wasn't harvesting 6 days, 7 days a week. He had to stop because the restaurants just weren't taking them.
Well, we hope the prices and the abundance goes up. Thank you very much, Neil Melancon.